Well, welcome to another Summer of Sleaze edition of 42nd Street Pete's Grindhouse. Just had another little incident. This is what irks me. This whole deal with using the internet to totally communicate with. I ordered some dog food from Chewy, and of course, they're not going to knock on my door, so I didn't even know it was out here because I wasn't in front of my fucking computer. I was trying to lay on the couch and recuperate from the surgery, which I'm having a lot of difficulty doing because I'm getting aggravated. So they took a 30-pound box that was ripped open at the bottom and leaking dog food, stood it up next to my front door, never even bothered to ring the doorbell or knock on it. And I go out there this morning to find it loaded with fucking ants. And the other thing was, too, that I would have really liked somebody to knock on the goddamn door so I could get my neighbor to move it in, because I'm not supposed to lift anything heavy. So it sits out there and it's full of ants. I just called them up and, like, they're blowing me the fuck off, so, and whatever. But anyway, the good thing about the 70s, especially, being that Vincent Price was so prolific during the 70s, as far as the early 70s, with the Dr. Phibes movies and Madhouse and Scream and Scream Again and some other stuff, that some clever exhibitors would always try to do a Vinny double feature, especially in New York on 42nd Street, because, you know, Vinny was a draw, so if you could throw another Vinny film up there, it would work. So I remember, I don't know which Price movie it was originally on the top of the double bill, but on the bottom of the double bill it was 1963's The Haunted Palace. One of Corman's Poe adaptations, which really wasn't a Poe adaptation, it was more of an H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. I think it was based on the story of Charles Dexter Ward or whatever. I'm not really up on my Lovecraft, so I couldn't tell you. But it did feature something else interesting. It might have been the first appearance of the book Necronomicon, which they were using to do their experiments with. It opens up that Joseph Curwen has this castle, and young women from the village are being drawn to the castle and coming back sort of like in some kind of a trance, which sort of pisses off the village people, led by perennial heavy Leo Gordon and Elijah Cook Jr. and a few other people decide to burn Mr. Curwen at the stake. Of course, he throws a curse on him. And years down the road, a descendant shows up, Charles Dexter Ward, also Vincent Price. Vinny plays it really good in this. He's being taken over by Joseph Curwen, and he's trying to stay as Charles Dexter Ward. The battle goes on in his mind, and it's obvious from his facial expressions and stuff like that. So anyway, he doesn't receive a very warm welcome coming into the village. Matter of fact, the ancestors, which are Leo Gordon and Elijah Cook Jr., pretty much dissuade him from going to his ancestral home until one of the doctors in the crowd tells him how to get there. When he gets there, there's a servant waiting for him, Simon, played by Lon Chaney Jr. in his only Corman film ever, I believe. I don't think he ever was brought back to do anything. But anyway, he's the caretaker, and he's also one of the co-conspirators from way back. So, as Curwen tries to take over Charles Dexter Ward, things are happening in the village. Several of these people are walking around. They're sort of mutants. They got shit wrong with their face. One guy has no eyes, it's covered over. One girl has no mouth. Different things. So anyway, and the worst one is, I guess, Leo Gordon's relative, who was like chained up in an attic room and fed raw meat or something. So anyway, once Joseph Curwen completely takes over Charles Dexter Ward, he goes on a rampage, and of course Leo's character is killed by his offspring and turned into a fire and burned. Elijah Cook Jr. is burned. A couple other people are burned. But now they have to resurrect or bring back the old gods, because the whole premise was they were going to mate the old gods with human women. And the only one still left around is Charles Dexter Ward's wife, and played by Deborah Paget. And of course they're positioning her to be, taken by these creatures. Well, at that point, the townsfolk have had enough and decide to come in and burn down the castle. And it's amazing how that old stone just catches on fucking fire and burns down. So they basically burn the place down. The elder gods are back where they're supposed to be. The two characters that were with Curwen disappear, and they're outside. Charles Dexter Ward is, I'm okay, I'm okay. And you look at his eyes, and he's really not okay. So, of course, this left it open for a sequel that never happened. But honestly, I think this is one of Corman's better Poe films. I know I'd have people argue with me on that. Some people are huge fans of Pit and the Pendulum and huge fans of Fall of the House of Usher. But this one just had the right creep factor going for it, I guess because of the H.G. Lovecraft shit. And the sets were great. I think it was Daniel Haller was the art director. And it just had this whole aura of creepiness throughout the film. And like I said, it was really cool to see it again on the big screen paired with whatever, it might have been Scream and Scream Again, I'm not sure. But whatever, Vinny always delivered, and his old Corman stuff was definitely a treat. So definitely worth a look if you want to check it out. It's out on Blu-ray, I believe, and it's also playing on Tubi, which everything else is playing on Tubi. So that's our show for today. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the flip side.